start, I'd just like to thank Dell Mann at Fightnight-Live TV for the opportunity to conduct this interview. My martial arts training started in 1986 at 11 years old under the tutelage of Andrew Hennessy with the ECKA, the English Contact Karate Association. An amazing association at the time, very big, lots of fighters and instructors throughout the UK even today at some point have gone through the ECKA for their training. Andrew Hennessy, an absolutely amazing instructor, second to none. His technical excellence and his understanding on the breakdown of technique is absolutely fantastic. It has to be seen to be believed. And also our chief instructor at the ECKA at the time, world featherweight full contact champion Howard the Hawk Brown. So it was a very strong association, and I'm very privileged to have started my martial arts training with them. I also done a little bit of Kung Fu training as well with Mokgar, which was an offshoot of Laogar, and the instructor was Micah Hudson, another fantastic instructor, very unorthodox instructor, but he knew how to bring out the best in his students. Okay, I really enjoyed my time with them. Finally, I've done a little bit of training with Master Tom Wynn at the Taekwondo, which was very good as well, considering I was working on my legs, trying to get my legs as good as they could possibly be. So I think Tom helped me to bring on them. But definitely my main instructor, my main influence as a young child coming through was Andrew Hennessy, who's now the president of the ICO, the International Combat Organisation. As a youngster, I think it was the competitions that really inspired me the most with my martial arts. And I got into competitions basically as soon as I got the green light from my instructor. I used to compete as often as possible, in as many different disciplines as possible. Started off in points fighting, also done katas forms, freestyle forms, light continuous and also full contact. I managed to pick up 17 national British titles across the different disciplines and had my first full contact fight when I was 17 years old. I started my professional full contact career at 75 kilos, which is super middleweight, and finished it at 81 kilos, which is light heavyweight. In my time in professional full contact, I managed to pick up the WKA Midland title, the WACO Pro English title, the ISKA British title and the ISKA Commonwealth title. At the same time as I was fighting full contact, I was teaching full time and pretty much training myself. So something had to give. Fighting wasn't paying the bills, teaching was. So I had to call time on my career quite early, and probably a little bit prematurely. But I enjoyed my time as a full contact fighter and was pleased with what I achieved. I started teaching martial arts in 1990 at the Aero Kick Gym in Birmingham. I was actually one of the founder members of Aero Kick with Winston Gordon and Colin Treasure, who were professional full contact champions at the time, and also Justin Clements, who was an ABA champ, and he actually went on to have really good success in professional boxing as well. At Aero Kick we dominated the circuit, points fighting, light continuous, forms, full contact. We were really good because we had so much influence from so many different sources. Stayed with Aero Kick for 2 years, and in 1992 I got the opportunity from an instructor in Birmingham called Anthony Arkinson to take over his clubs. His clubs at the time were Sparky's Kickboxing, and he wanted to move on to other things business related, and he wanted to leave his clubs in good hands. I felt like it was a good opportunity for me for growth, so that I could basically call more shots and take the club in the direction that I wanted to take it in. And I had some good times with Sparky's Kickboxing, okay, over a 2-year period. In 1994, the English Contact Karate Association, USKA, reinvented itself and were under new management, so to speak, with Chief Instructor Dev Barrett. And they were enticing all the old instructors and fighters back to try and get USKA back to its former glory. which was something that I was really interested in, with USKA being where I started and where my roots were. So I transferred my clubs back over to USKA, and it was great being part of a big association again. However, in 1996, I felt like it was the right time to go out on my own, bite the bullet and fly my own flag, sail my own ship. And that's when the Ultimate Sport Kickboxing Association was formed, USKA. USKA was going to be my baby. You know, I could take it in whatever direction I felt that was appropriate at the time. And my heart was in sport kickboxing, in competitive kickboxing. So that's what we made our focus, competitive sport kickboxing, exactly what it says on the tin. And I think over the last 24 years we've had some great success, and I'm really proud of what we've achieved. We've always had a really strong junior squad at USKA. Literally hundreds of young fighters walk through our gym door that we've taken right up to World Championship gold medal success. We've had our fair share of success in amateur and professional full contact championship as well. A few fighters thinking back that spring to mind: Alan MacDonald, a multiple amateur British champion at super middleweight, tough as nails, forward aggressive fighting, but really effective with it. Alan was one of my chief sparring partners when I was active as a full contact fighter. King of the welterweights, Phil Richards. In the mid-90s, this guy was untouchable. Southpaw, unorthodox, slick, accurate, fast, flamboyant. I had no doubt that Phil would have won a world title, professional world title, if he wasn't sidelined with injury. But an amazing fighter, which I took a lot from his style and implemented it to my own style when I was fighting. In the amateurs, super middleweight world champion Tyrone the Punisher Power. In the lightweight division, Romain Porter winning the lightweight ICO world title. We had Chantal Cameron, an amazing fighter, British champion as a kickboxer, and left kickboxing to go to boxing, where she remains unbeaten as a professional champion now. She's just knocking on the door of a WBC world title shot. So another amazing fighter in Chantal. Lee the Wizard Whitfield from the Baylang gym in Telford, who fights out of USKA for his full contact fights. Not long won the WRSA light heavyweight European title, and is knocking on the door of a world full contact title before too long. We had the privilege of working with mighty Mick Crossland from the Barnsley Combat Academy in the tail end of his career. We trained Mick and cornered Mick to his ICO world title, knocking out Aidan Brooks. Great performance there from Mick. Also a very good friend of mine, Dale the Snail Wood. We had the privilege of working with Dale at the tail end of his career, picking up the USKA super middleweight world title. But by far our biggest success story, Kazim the Dream Beg. He's pretty much won everything right the way through the amateurs into the professional ranks, remained unbeaten in 49 fights. He's currently 4 times world champion, and at present holds 3 super lightweight world title belts with the ICO, the WRSA and the IKF. With Kaz, he's only just getting going. He's coming for all the belts. So yeah, some crazy success for us over the years, and long may it continue. I was training alongside some really good fighters, and in the sparring element of the training I was holding my own with them. So I set my goal to compete at the 2011 ICO World Championships in Germany, and despite working around some crazy injuries, I managed to get myself fight fit, fly to Germany and bag myself a gold medal. And I was really happy with my performance over there. So over the next 5 years I fought in another 4 World Championships, and in total picked myself up 8 gold medals. So I was really glad that I made the decision to compete again, because now I can leave the sport and hang up my gloves full time, knowing that I've done everything that I wanted to do competitively. I've I've been a national light continuous coach for the USKA and now the ICO for over 12 years. I'm really passionate about bringing on the sport of light continuous, as it's a real skillful sport in itself, and it's also the breeding ground for the next generation of full contact fighters. In 2007, I formed the BLCC, the British Light Continuous Council, to provide regular ring-based light continuous competitions for all levels. And I believe that since we've put the BLCC on the map, that the standard's gone through the roof. My goals for the future are to bounce back after this coronavirus pandemic and get my gym back on track, to continue to train my students hard and to afford them the opportunity to achieve their goals and ambitions, and more importantly, to make a positive difference to people's lives, to produce good people with good morals that can make a positive contribution to society. I'd just like to dedicate this interview to one of my students who we lost at the end of February, which has left a massive hole in our gym family. I'd like to dedicate this to Kazema the Damager Douglas. We love and miss you, Zamy.